Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Surviving Narcissism Together. Okay, so have you ever noticed how a narcissist can go from really calm to really explosive in seconds? So one minute everything seems fine, but the next you're dealing with anger, silent treatment, or even revenge? Well, this isn't random. It's part of something that we call the narcissistic rage cycle. So in today's video, we're going to break down the cycle step by step so you can finally understand what's happening behind their mask. And by the end, you'll know the signs and the patterns, and most importantly, how to protect yourself from getting pulled into it. So the narcissistic rage cycle always begins with a trigger. So that's step one. So it doesn't have to be anything huge. It could be simply you saying no to them or setting a boundary, which you should, or questioning their behavior, or even, unintentionally outshining them. So to you, it really may seem very small, but to them, it's like a direct attack on their fragile sense of control and superiority. And inside their ego, it takes a massive hit. So that's the wound. That's that feeling of being exposed or rejected is what sets the cycle into motion, right? It's that trigger. So for you, again, it may feel like you're standing your ground, but for them it feels like humiliation and loss of control. Let's say, for example, you can't attend a family event because maybe you're busy, and suddenly a parent or your sibling may act like you betrayed them, though you have justifiable reasons for not being there. Or maybe in your narcissistic relationship, you politely say that you need some alone time, some space, and your partner reacts like you're abandoning them. Or maybe in work, you tell your boss, hey, I can't stay late, and instead of understanding, they accuse you of being very uncommitted, though they're asking you to work overtime and they may not be paying. So these everyday boundaries, it feels like rejection to the narcissist, and it's really what sets them off. So once the narcissist is triggered, we then enter the explosion phase. uh, it's really a rage phase where the rage could look very different depending on the type of narcissist. So some explode very outwardly, shouting, name calling, throwing accusations. This is usually the case with my mom, where she would like yell. And I remember one time she threw a vase at me simply because I said no to going to a family event. Other narcissists may rage inwardly, so maybe through silent treatment, which it's very passive aggressive, or maybe emotional withdrawal, so it messes with your mind. So regardless of what the rage may look like, in the end the goal is always the same: to punish you and regain control. So maybe your boss happened to slam the desk or raise their voice or send a nasty email to you. Or maybe you were in a narcissistic relationship and they got silent. They stopped messaging you to punish you, so it started to play a lot of tricks on your mind and make you think as though you were wrong. So at the end of the day, it's really to punish you and regain control. So and it's done really to reassert their power. So in this phase, logic, it doesn't exist. Logic with a narcissist, it never exists. Okay, guys? So you can't reason with them because they're not looking for truth. The goal is they're looking for dominance. Okay? After this explosive and rage phase, you enter the third phase, which is the justification phase. So here, narcissist convinces themselves that their reaction was completely reasonable, which it wasn't. They might say things like, you made me angry. If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have reacted this way, or I'm only trying to teach you a lesson. So some examples, again, I go back to family. You call out a family member for saying something hurtful to you, and they come back with, but you're too sensitive and you always take things the wrong way. Or a coworker maybe got caught lying, and instead of owning up, they blame you. Oh, you misunderstood and you're making me look bad. So this is really gaslighting in action, making you doubt your own reality while they avoid accountability. And this is, it's really classic blame shifting. Instead of taking responsibility for their behavior, they try to rewrite the narrative so you become the villain and they stay in control. The next phase in this cycle is usually the reconciliation phase, where um it they don't necessarily realize their mistake and apologize sincerely, but instead they often switch tactics. So they may offer a half-hearted apology, like "I'm sorry you feel that way," or love bomb you with affection or gifts to smooth things over. Like, maybe in a relationship you had after they blew up on you, they might suddenly show up with flowers or cook dinner and act like everything is fine. Or in a family setting, like a parent who screamed at you yesterday may suddenly act very sweet and cheerful today without even apologizing. Or in a friendship, in a narcissistic friendship, maybe the friend who ignored you for a week suddenly texts like nothing happened. So this reconciliation phase isn't necessarily about repairing the relationship. It's about resetting the cycle so it could repeat again. It's because of them wanting to reset the cycle so it could repeat again is where they enter something called the calm before the storm phase. So that phase where things seem normal, they may act loving and attentive and charming, almost like the rage never happened, right? And you almost start to doubt yourself. Was it really that bad? Maybe I was overreacting, maybe I was exaggerating. But I guarantee you that this peace, this peace is temporary, and it's not a resolution. It's just that pause before the next trigger sets it all off again. This calm period can be very confusing because it tricks you into thinking, oh, the worst is over. But in reality, the narcissist is simply waiting for the next trigger. The cycle is not broken, guys. It's only paused. Here's the truth. The cycle never really ends. It's a painful truth we need to swallow. The narcissistic rage cycle is designed to repeat because it's fueled by their fragile ego, by their need for control, and their inability to handle accountability. There's always going to be another trigger. Believe me, there will always be another trigger. You're not dealing with isolated outbursts. What you're dealing with is it's patterns, right? And patterns repeat until you step out of them. So if you find yourself stuck in this cycle, remember, it's not your fault. You can't prevent their rage because it's not about you. It's about the narcissist's inner emptiness. The best thing you could do is recognize the cycle, and this would allow you to protect your peace and choose distance when possible. Whether it's a parent, a partner, a friend, or even at work, please remember that you didn't cause this and you can't fix it. That's just how these creatures are. Their rage is a reflection of them, not of you. What essentially happens with the narcissistic rage is that they project their inner chaos onto people that's closest to them. So they may accuse you of being disrespectful or ungrateful, or even that they're the reason they exploded. But the truth is, you could have done everything quote unquote right, and they still would have found a reason to lash out. This isn't about your actions. It's solely because of their need for control, validation, and power. And that's why it's so important not to internalize their behavior. I know when you're in the middle of it, you might start questioning yourself. Maybe I should have kept quiet. Maybe I shouldn't have said no. Maybe it is really my fault. But let me tell you clearly, it's not your fault. A healthy person can handle disappointment. A healthy person can handle rejection. A healthy person can handle criticism and use that as positive criticism to improve on themselves without exploding. Narcissistic rage is a defense mechanism for them, not a reflection of your worth, because they're not healthy individuals. That's why they can't handle situations well. The best thing you could do is really recognize the cycle when it's happening. That's why I keep saying, education on narcissism is so important. When you're able to recognize the cycle, you need to, you're able to step back mentally and emotionally. If it is safe, you can even say less and disengage, because arguing or defending yourself usually just feeds the cycle, right? Narcissists, again, they always look for supply. So, arguing, it really just feeds them. So protect your peace by remembering that you are not responsible for fixing them, soothing them, or walking on eggshells to keep them calm. That's not your responsibility. Sometimes protecting your peace looks like creating space. Maybe that's setting firm boundaries. Maybe that's limiting conversations. Maybe that's refusing to engage when they start raging, or deciding not to explain yourself over and over. And in some cases, protecting your peace means distance, removing yourself from the situation altogether, whether it's temporary or permanent. At the end of the day, your mental and emotional health matter more than keeping the peace with someone who thrives on chaos. You deserve relationships where you feel safe, respected, and loved, not attacked, not belittled, nor silenced. So guys, if no one has told you this lately, let me be the first one to say it. You are worthy of a calm, steady, and safe love. You are not too much. You are not hard to love. And you are not the reason for someone else's stupid anger. Healing from this cycle, from this narcissistic rage cycle that they project onto us, it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time. But every step that you take towards protecting your peace is a step towards freedom. One day you look back and you'll realize and recognize that you are stronger than the storm you survived, and that your future is filled with the kind of love and respect you always deserved, okay? I know that this narcissistic rage cycle can feel so confusing and consuming. It really can feel just draining, absolutely mentally draining. But the quicker you are to recognize that it's happening, the quicker you will be to protect your peace from them. Okay guys, so thank you so much for watching, and if this video has resonated with you, please like, comment, subscribe, and share to someone who maybe needs to hear it. Okay, remember, we're healing, and healing can take a little time, because we're moving from victims to survivors to victors. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.